Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I am talking to you about homes, living arrangements, what to do when you own a home and your partner owns a home, or you both live separately and then you come together and you want to get married or just live together, do life together. What to do in this situation. So, I remember a while back, I had a follower that emailed me a question, and it was pertaining to her living situation, how she had a home that was passed down from her grandparents, and her partner, I guess he was living with her in that home, and he kept mentioning that he wanted to get his own space, right? And this makes perfect sense from the male perspective, but she was kind of feeling insecure about him wanting to go off and provide his own space for himself, and I guess for her or his future wife or his future children, right? And I told her to rest assured that he is probably just listening to his own male intuition, which tells him to provide and protect, and that when he reaches a certain age or a certain period of time, in his manhood, that it would only make sense to his masculinity to be able to have his own home, have his own car. And this doesn't necessarily means that he has to own, he doesn't have to own a house, but at least just have something that he's paying on and something that he can really call his own, that he has provided for himself. And then, of course, is getting ready for his future life, children / wife, right? So again, understand that this is how manhood operates. We want to have our own. We want to feel that sense of accomplishment, and that we tied our energy and finances into something, right? That's especially important for masculine energy. It can mean, it can have a significant role in a woman's life, of course. It's not to say that we are not proud of, having our own things and, buying our own homes. But it is even more significant to the male brain and the male world, okay? So in a world that is particularly very, very flipped and reversed in roles, as women have become so independent and we have all of our own assets now, we are buying our own homes, we live alone, we are more separated than ever before, we own our own cars, we buy everything for ourselves as women. We are hardworking, independent women, okay? Well, naturally, relationships end up happening in our lives where they just kind of happen unexpectedly. We live on our own, or we live in an apartment or a home that was given to us, and then a man comes into our life, and what do we do in that situation where we want to live, we want to get married and live together, and but we each have our own places to live, or our own assets. Well, this happens a lot more than you'd think, right? Especially with like older couples who were widowed and, decided to remarry after they lost their spouse. My grandparents are the perfect example of this. And I definitely do not recommend. Oh, here's my cat. Every time I'm filming, she's like in the video. She's a little video star. Anyways, so yeah, older couples, this happens a lot. And even though I don't recommend living together before you're married, because that's just never a good idea to, sell your house or move into a partner's house that you just call your boyfriend, that you really have no legal ties to. That's just not a smart move. And I realize that it's become so normalized in the Western culture today. In fact, you're kind of deemed as weird if you don't live with a boyfriend. But this is a really, really bad idea. And actually, to that point, I can tell you that I know of couples, and actually one couple that I'm thinking of specifically, where the woman, this is an older couple, right? Well, she owned a house, right? She had her own home that she owned and lived in by herself. Well, she met a guy, and almost right away, she sold her house and moved in with the guy. Well, lo and behold, what do you know? They did not end up working out, decided to part ways, and he made her leave. And obviously, she sold her home, so she was left with nothing, right? She didn't have the safety and security of being married and, doing life together and sharing finances and sharing a home with him. He made her leave, and then she was left with nothing. Like, she had to just leave and go figure it out, go live with a friend, go live with family members, whatever. And this is why it's really not wise to put all your eggs into a boyfriend basket. There's no security in that. And unfortunately, those situations do happen because we are human, and we end up failing our flesh. We end up succumbing to our fleshly desires, and if we have the easy way out, we'll end up taking advantage of the easy way out. So anyways, I'm kind of getting off of track here, but yes, for living separately and then deciding to get married and figure out the homes that you want to live in. Either way that you choose, whether it's his home or your home as the woman, there needs to be an energy of that home that, brought to that home by the two of you, that it is yours. It is like ours rather than just yours or just his, So, for example, actually, this is what happened with my grandparents. My grandma, she got remarried about 9 years ago. And, obviously my grandpa and my grandma had their own home. He built that home for her. And when she met her now husband, he obviously had his own home about 30 minutes away. Well, when they got married, which they got married pretty much right away, they kind of would live back and forth from his home to her home. And eventually they were just like, you know what? Like, we want to reside, in your house, in your area, on your land, because my grandma had a much larger land. It was a much nicer neighborhood. It was a better option overall. And they decided to sell his place and just move into her house that her and my grandpa lived in together when they were married. So obviously it became theirs, and it was no longer just hers. You know what I mean? The energy that you have to bring into the new home that is supposed to be for you and your spouse can no longer carry the energy of, oh, this is mine and I provided this for myself, which, thankfully she hadn't provided that home for herself because her husband literally built it for her, which is just amazing. Like, he literally built it himself. But yes, it's actually even different energy, and even kind of harder to break out of that energy when you own a home that you have paid for all on your own, without the help of a man, without the provision of a man. It can be even harder to really shift your view on that home as you and your husband's space, and rather than you provided that for yourself. And you can tend to hold resentment for that. And even if you're not even trying to, it's just something that you inevitably do hold resentment about, because you're a woman and it's in your biological makeup, it's in your DNA, it's deeply ingrained into the female brain. Okay, the deepest part of the female brain is to seek out a man who can protect and provide. It's in your evolutionary history. It is the way that we've done things for millions of years, and it is the deepest part of the male brain to get their DNA into the next generation and procreate with a woman, right? So it's in your DNA to desire that a man, provide and protect for you and provides resources and basic necessities for survival. So I say all of that to say that despite whatever home that you choose, it needs to have his energy mainly attached to it, which means that, okay, I'm sorry, my alarm keeps going off. She keeps talking and I have no idea why. Anyway, this is my new home, so I'm still learning it. But anyways, it needs to mostly have his energy attached to it, and he needs to provide the basic needs of living there and the basic needs of surviving. So that means whatever home that you pick, he needs to take care of the bills. He needs to take care of the necessities, the lights, the water, the fixing of, things that might need fixed in the home, maybe some renovations that you want to do, of course, food on the table, like all of these basic resources that men have always provided to women for all of history. That's what he needs to have his finances and energy tied into in order to feel most masculine and powerful. Because if you are the one providing that and he's relying on you for his survival or for his basic necessities, then it's killing his testosterone, okay? Which low testosterone in men is a huge epidemic, and it leads to an abundance of health issues and actually takes years off of their life. Okay, so it's a huge problem. So you don't want to lower his testosterone, but you're also going to cause a lot of strain and resentment within your relationship, because he's not going to feel as the dominant leader over you. He's not going to feel the one that gets the respect. He's going to feel more needy and reliant and dependent upon you for his basic necessities and survival. And this just really flips the roles and again causes a lot of strain and pressure into masculine feminine relationship dynamic. And I can promise you that you do not want to feel this way with someone that you are doing life with, someone that you're supposed to be sexually attracted to, someone that you are gonna marry or are married to or gonna have children with. Like, you do not want to feel like you cannot trust him or rely on him to provide for you. You don't want to look at him with disgust and resentment in your eyes because he can't provide basic necessities or that it's all on your back. Okay, it's never gonna work. It just leads to a lot of, again, unnecessary strain, and you will just build up these seeds of resentment, and it's just not a good thing for your relationship, and especially like starting out. So don't even start out that way. Try not to start out a relationship that way, because usually how you start something is how you will end it. And yes, things can be done in order to fix those things that end up wrong from the beginning, but it can be really hard to break out of those comfortable habits and find the right way that works. So, if he wants to have his own assets to show for what he's accomplished in life and his finances tied to something, then understand that that is valid. That makes sense from the male perspective. In the male world, is his instinct is to provide and protect and have invested his finances into something that can provide a fulfilling life for his family. Understand that. And so that way, even if you do decide to live in your home, which again, this is what my grandparents did, that he will take care of all of the basics of living and even renovations and fixing things in the house. And I know that more modern men don't really know how to do this. I come from a line of men who know how to fix, you know, anything pretty much. They do the physical labor jobs, and they have craftsman skills, they have carpenter skills, they have mechanic skills. I come from men, you know, who do that, but I understand that there are modern men who don't really know how to do that. But just make sure that you throw the ball in his court for that area, because those are more manly, masculine tasks and more solution-oriented things that can help him in building his masculine energy and making him feel more dominant, and just giving you the eyes to respect him more. So basically let him take care of that world, as in providing the container of the home, and you focus on the internal of the home. And this is a great analogy for the feminine and the masculine, because the masculine is the container in which the feminine inside is allowed to flow and feel free. And so when you think of a home, like, the masculine is the structure, the masculine is the the four walls holding the components of what is inside together. That is masculine structure, and then feminine flow and freedom. Does that make sense? So let him worry about more of the structural things in the home and taking care of renovations or building things for it. And you worry about the energy inside of the home and making it feel, warm and cozy and full of light and, color and, the decorative aspect of it. And it's just so amazing to me to really study how men and women are so different in that area, because I swear the male family members in my life, I would never give them authority over decorating the inside of the home. Even though I feel like older men that I know are a lot better with this, just because they have wives, or they have had wives before, so they learned a lot about decorating and just being more creative in that area. But it's just so funny to me because younger male family members, I would never let them have authority over the decorating of the home and the placement of things, and trusting that they know what goes together and what looks good. It's really just fascinating to me because it's terrible. It's terrible, and just things are they have no uniformity. So anyways, they obviously just want efficiency and things that do the job and get the job done. And that's how feminine energy differs, because we care more about the creative side of it, and we care more about the feeling of a place, right? So anyways, I think that's all I wanted to say for this video, and I'm going to shut up, and hopefully you found this to be helpful. Please pray for me that my camera does pop up eventually. I'm sure all of you know about my camera situation now. I don't think that it will, unfortunately, but just keep praying for me. And yeah, feel free to send me a DM or an email. Everything will be listed down below. If you have a specific question or a concern, or need relationship help or guidance on your feminine journey, make sure you send me an email and I will respond to you ASAP. So anyways, until the next video, I will talk to you guys soon. I love you.